When you think of an abandoned train car, you probably picture rusty metal, broken seats, and years of dust. It's hard to imagine anyone calling such a place home, right? But what if I told you it doesn't have to stay that way, with a little vision? And a lot of creativity, an old train car can be transformed into something truly special. But before we start, smash the like button, and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any news stories. The first night he spent in Theban train car, Henry thought he might freeze to death. The wind howled through cracks in the rusted metal walls, carrying with it the bitter chill of winter. Curled up on the hard, grimy floor, he pulled his thin jacket tightly around his shoulders, trying desperately to keep warm. Every creak and groan off the old rail car echoed in his ears, amplifying his loneliness. He had nowhere else to go. After losing his home to foreclosure and his savings to medical bills, Henry was left with nothing but a small backpack and deck clothes on his back. It had been a long, exhausting journey to this forgotten railroad hidden at the edge of town. When S stumbled upon the old train car, abandoned and forgotten, it seemed like fate had finally offered him a break. But now, as he shivered in the darkness, he wondered if he'd made a terrible mistake. Sleep came in short. Restless bursts, punctuated by nightmares of his past life-warm beds, laughter, familiar gatherings. He woke before dawn, stiffened, aching, his breath visible in the freezing air. He sat up slowly, surveying the bleak interior of that train car. Rusted metal walls, broken windows, and a floor littered with dirt and debris. It was far from homey. But as the first rays of sunlight crept through the cracked windows, Henry saw something else glimmer of possibility. He stood, stretching his sore muscles, and took a deep breath. He had always been a man who believed in second chances. Maybe this forgotten train car could have won too. Over the next few days, Henry scavenged the railroad and surrounding area for anything he could use. He found discarded lumber, old metal beams, and even some intact train seats. He gathered tools from a nearby junkyard, borrowing and bartering with could. Each night he returned to that train car, exhausted but filled with purpose. Slowly the transformation began. First, Henry sealed the cracks and gaps in the walls with scraps off wood and metal. The wind no longer sliced through the car, and the nights became unbearable. He swept away years of dirt and grime, revealing the sturdy metal floor beneath. It was hard work, but each small improvement filled him with a sense of accomplishment. Weeks passed and Henry's determination grew stronger. He built shelves from old metal beams, carefully securing them to walls. He repurposed train seats into a comfortable seating area, arranging them around a small table he fashioned from salvaged wood. The train car began to feel less like a cold metal box and more like a place he could call home. But Henry knew he couldn't stop there. He needed warmth, light, and a way to cook meals. He spent searching for materials, trading oddjobs for supplies, and slowly piecing together what he needed. Eventually, he installed a small wood-burning stove, its chimney carefully vented through thorough. The first night, he lit a fire. The warmth filled the train car, chasing away the cold and darkness. For the first time in months, Henry felt hope. As winter gave way to spring, Henry continued his work. He repaired the broken windows, replacing shattered glass. With clear panes he salvaged from abandoned buildings. Natural light flooded the interior, illuminating the space and lifting his spirits. He built a small kitchen area, complete with a sink, countertop, and shelves for dishes food. He even managed to rig up a simple solar-powered system, providing electricity for small lights and charging his phone. Outside, Henry painted the train car a cheerful shade of blue, covering the rust and decky with fresh color. He built wooden steps leading up to the sliding door, planting flowers and pots he found discarded nearby. Small solar-powered lights lit the path, guiding visitors to his front door. Neighbors from the nearby town began to notice. At first, they were skeptical, whispering about the strange old man living in the abandoned railroad. But curiosity soon overcame. Suspicion and people began stopping by to see the transformation for themselves. They marveled at Henry's creativity and resourcefulness, inspired by his determination to rebuild his life. But even as his home took shape, Henry struggled with memories of his past. Late at night, when the wind whispered softly outside, he thought of his wife. Hoth had passed away years earlier. Harry remembered their cozy home filled with laughter and love. He missed her deeply, and the loneliness sometimes threatened to overwhelm him. Yet each morning Harris with purpose. He had learned that life was about moving forward even when the past weighed heavily on his heart. One afternoon, as Henry worked unfinishing touches inside, a soft knock sounded at the door. He opened it cautiously, surprised to see a young woman standing outside holding a small child by the hand. "Hello," she said. "My name is Sarah. We live near beyond. My son Danny has been fascinated by your train car. He begged me to come seat." Henry smiled warmly, inviting them inside. Danny's eyes widened with wonder as he explored the cozy interior. Endless questions about how Henry had built everything. Sarah watched quietly, admiration in her eyes. Over time, Sarah and Danny became regular visitors. Henry found himself looking forward to their company, grateful for the warmth and friendship they brought into his life. He taught Danny how to build shelves, how to plant flowers, and how to see potential in things others overlooked. The train car became more than just Henry's home. It became a place of community, connection, and hope. Months turned into a year, and the train car was now a beloved landmark in the small town. People visited regularly, bringing gifts of food, supplies, and friendship. Henry, once isolated and alone, now found himself surrounded by people who genuinely cared for him. But deep down, Henry knew there was one final thing he needed to do. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden light across the railroad, Henry sat down at his small table and began to write. He poured his heart onto the page, recounting his journey from losing everything to finding purpose in an abandoned train car. He wrote about the kindness of strangers, the power of determination, and the beauty of second chances. When he finished, he folded the letter carefully and placed it in an envelope addressed to his daughter Emma. They hadn't spoken in years. Their relationship strained misunderstandings and stubborn pride, but Henry knew it was time to reach out, mend the broken bond between them. He mailed the letter the next morning, his heart heavy with anticipation. Days passed, and Henry began to worry he'd waited too long. But one afternoon, Ash watered his flowers outside. He saw a familiar figure approaching through Thoreau Yard. His heart skipped a beat as he recognized Emma, tears streaming down her face. "Dad," she whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. Henry opened his arms, and Emma rushed into his embrace. They stood together, holding tightly, years of hurt and misunderstanding melting away. "I'm so sorry," Emma whispered. "I should have reached out sooner." "No," Henry said gently. "The past is behind us. What matters is now." Emma stepped back, looking around at the train car with amazement. "You did all this yourself?" Henry smiled softly. "I had help from friends, neighbors, people who believed in me. But yes, this is my home now." Emma took his hand, squeezing gently. "It's beautiful. Dad, I'm proud of you." In that moment, Henry felt a sense of peace he thought he'd lost forever. He had transformed an abandoned train Corinto a home, rebuilt his life from nothing, and now finally he had his daughter back. As the sun sat behind them, casting warm golden hues across the railroad, Henry knew he'd found something far more valuable than a roof over his head. He'd found hope, forgiveness, and the courage to start